Oh, oh, gracias. Oh, yeah. Yes, yes. They were hopping around all over the place. That was great. Yeah, this is a great place for breakfast. It was a beautiful day, too. Are you ready for the whale festival this weekend? Really? Yeah, I haven't been to it. Last year I was here, but I didn't go to it, so it'll be my first time. I've been here a year and 4 months, I think, from upstate New York. So you guys here on vacation? Are you living here? Okay. So a lot of this you're familiar with, like the geckos and things. Like from New York, it was like it's an adjustment getting used to a lot of the creatures and the flora and the fauna. I mean, it's probably similar. Oh. See. Yeah. 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 I had them in my car for a while here. Hola, ¿cómo estás? We're here at. Oh, I better turn this down. Okay. Don Roger, of course. What a beautiful view. So I left my house at exactly 7 a.m. so I can get here in time even if I leave at 7 a.m. So it's cool to live close to such a awesome place. So you're probably already sick of looking at my ugly face here. So let's turn it around and look at the view. Yeah, the plants are growing a little bit here. So buenos dias from Uvita. I uploaded a video last night of I went to a sea cave uh, on South Antanas from hiked in from Playa Tortuga, but apparently the video didn't upload when I thought it did, so I'm re-uploading that, and that'll be uploaded later today. So there's some cool events going on in the area this weekend, and I think for 5 days starting today. In It's not in San Isidro, but it's in Perez somewhere. They're having a rambutan festival, the Mimonis. I call them Mimonis. Uh, that runs for 5 days. I'd like to get to that. And the whale festival is here this weekend. So I've been thinking of doing a live at a different time. I think I've talked about it before. Maybe in the afternoon, maybe from the Whale Brewery, or maybe even here, because the sunset here is pretty awesome. Sunset here with a mojito, pretty good. So locally here, they've been having some problem with right tide a little bit. They found some dead fish and dead sea turtles and things. Be an interesting thing to kind of do a video on that, just to talk to the experts and see what they have to say. But it was interesting hiking Playa Tortuga. It's one I've done a few times before. And you go at low tide because it's easy to cross the river, and the sea cave is much more visible, kind of accessible. You can't, I mean, you could go into it if the seas were calmer, but the way it usually is, if you tried to go in it, you'd get banged around a little bit. Sometimes people will paddle through it on a calmer day. And it's a funny thing with a sea cave. So even the caves at the Playa Ventanas, where all the vendors are, that little sea cave there, they all get a lot of sediment in the bottom. It's kind of a weird thing walking in there. You're like, what am I stepping on? And a lot of roots and a lot of sticks and things like that, and plant fiber, I guess. Hola, my voice. How are things in Bermuda? I can't say it. Bermuda. You wonder why I can't speak Spanish well. I can't even speak English well. How are things in Bermuda? From one paradise to another, right? So how's the rain usually go there? You get a little bit of rain and then it clears up. Excuse me. That's the way it is here. Usually especially in the morning if it rains, it usually doesn't last long. The afternoon rains are a different story. But then again, when you start trying to predict the weather here, Mother Nature doesn't like it, and it does what she wants. Buenos dias, Señor Dan. Gracias. And how are things in your new place, Señor Dan? My coffee has arrived. So the day can begin. Mucho gusto. Muchas gracias. And today, it's huevo rancheros. It's a heavy plate. Es poco picante. Buenos días, KMH. Well, I'm lucky. My situation, my water, and all my, the only person I pay is my landlord. He takes care of my electricity, my water, even my internet. So I'm kind of lucky in that way. And that's kind of another reason for not wanting to go away too fast. ¿Puedo tener una taza de agua? Gracias. I know that this is poco picante, so I'm going to need a little agua, probably a lot of agua. Coffee from Cafe Don Emilio. Muchas gracias. You cannot beat coffee from Cafe Don Emilio. Well, it only takes takes me less than 5 minutes to get here, Don. It'll probably take you 3 minutes to get here. So if you finish your cup, swing on up. The road's in great shape. The Rotevi is the car inspection here in Costa Rica, and I went to San Isidro and had my mechanic Josue take it in, but there's a change going on with the Rotevi, so a different company is doing it. So we're all going to have to learn the new company and however they operate. Hopefully, it won't be much different than what it was, but I'm not due to go back until the spring, so I've got time to think about it. But it is a surprisingly thorough process because you see some of the cars driving around here in Costa Rica and you think, wow, the inspection can't be that intense. But my first attempt, I didn't pass because of my tires. There's two of my tires were not up to specifications. So I ended up just getting a whole new set of tires, and then it passed. And they had a bunch of other things that they recommended that I get that didn't have to be done, but they said it would be better if they were done. Like my car doesn't have backup lights on it, which I mean I would love to have backup lights, but that wasn't mandatory. That was just a suggestion. But most people have a mechanic take it through, but I think you can do it yourself. But then again, the process is changing, so who knows what it's going to be. But my friend Josue is a mechanic, and he actually got me through faster because he was able to skip ahead in line because he knows the people there. It's great to have a friend who's a mechanic here because most people have cars that aren't brand new, and he set me up with a great place the place where I got my battery and my tires in San Isidro, and he set me up with a really great guy that changes oil in San Isidro, and the oil change was much cheaper than it was here in Uvita, and the guy really knew what he was doing. I've got a 2008 Grand Vitara, and a lot of mechanics have a hard time taking the oil filter off because it's kind of in a cramped position. So any mechanics here in Uvita have always had trouble with that. This guy in San Isidro, he just went in there and zipped it right out. He was like a pit crew on like a Daytona 500 or something. Yeah, he really knows his stuff. I'm probably going to do a video on that too because it is so helpful. No, I've just got my regular U.S. driver's license, and I think a lot of people with residency they just keep their U.S. driver's license. But the only downside to that is if you have your U.S. driver's license, and if you're going through the residency process, you still have to renew your visa. But I think when you become a resident and you can apply for your regular license. I think Don is going through that process. He could probably answer that better than I could. He's like in the middle of that process, I believe. Oh, you're talking about a German company is going to take over with Heavy? Well, the Huevo Rancheros are excellent. I would actually like to get my motorcycle license here, but taking the test and all that in Spanish wouldn't at this point in my learning ability wouldn't be possible. But you need a motorcycle license to legally drive a quad. And I think it would be just a fun thing to have. I mean, that's way down the road, of course. How's the audio quality? Can people hear that? So Don, are you in the process of getting your driver's license here? So the town of Uvita is hustling and bustling right now, getting ready for the Whale Festival this weekend. This will be my first time going there, so let's see what happens. I know they've got some entertainment. It kind of has come up on me really fast. It's already Thursday of that weekend. Oh, and yesterday I did some drone flights on the road to the Tennessee Route 243. That is such an interesting place. The weather changes there like so quickly, and all it is really, it's just a matter. It's a high mountain, so clouds come through, and it seems like it's a fog, but it really isn't a fog. It's a cloud, but I guess the cloud close to the ground is fog. It's just really interesting because I was flying my drone, and all of a sudden, this cloud just kind of engulfed everything, and I had to get my drone down because drones don't like moisture, and the sensors started freaking out. And that's the only drone I have that works, so I have to take care of it. So when the fog comes in, I try to keep my distance. And the same thing when I'm flying over the ocean, I try to avoid the mist as much as possible. Yeah, that's a sticking point for a lot of people. It's a tough, not a sticking point, but it's a annoying thing for people getting the residency. They think that they don't have to do border runs anymore. But if you want to drive, if everything isn't, all the paperwork isn't done yet, you got to make that border run. So the Panama border run seems to be a little difficult these days, but there are people still doing it. So the thing I keep hearing, instead of 1 day, you need to stay 2 days in Panama, which is kind of a pain, but not a real big deal. Yeah, I've got to do another border run in the middle of October, coming up soon. But in some ways, it would almost be cheaper to fly to Florida and back. Didn't you just do a run to Nicaragua like last month? You got to be in November, it would seem, right? You're 90. Did you get 90 days? Did you get a 90-day stamp? I'm sure you did. Oh, really? I thought it was longer than that. Time goes by fast. Because that's when I went. I was in the States in the middle of July. I remember that was an interesting story about some of the people that you went with. I've never been to Nicaragua. Time does fly. I've been here a year and 4 months, almost 4 months. No, wait, I'm not sure. I have to go through the calendar in my head. Oh yeah, definitely a year and 4 months. One adjustment that I've had to make is the changing of the seasons help mark time in my overall scheme of life. Without the change of seasons, it's hard. It's hard to sync. If you know what I mean. I'm getting better because I'm learning the seasons here, which is more or less has to do with the weather, the rain and lack thereof, and the amount of people that are in town. Yeah, it won't be long, and tourist season will be here again. I've been here since April of 2021. All I know is that the time is going by really fast, and every month it goes by faster. Oh, and the channel finally hit the 600 subscriber mark. So thanks everybody that subscribed. It's funny, you see somebody like Michael Allen, who's got the biggest Costa Rican YouTube channel around, and he's always going, "Thanks, man. YouTube's tough, man. YouTube's tough." It's like, yeah, he's got like, I'm maybe exaggerating, 30,000 or 40,000 subscribers, but he has good information. I was mentioning earlier, I uploaded a video about hiking a sea cave from Playa Tortuga to the South Antanas sea cave, which is different than the sea cave that you normally go to that you can drive to that has all the vendors. The South Antanas cave is a little kind of hard to access. The whale tour boats usually go by there just to check it out if the sea is calm enough. But it's a kind of a cool area. There's usually not very many people there. I think there was only 2 other people there when I was there. And that motor you hear off in the distance is a very slow moving seaplane. It's tends to go. Usually it's around low tide. It's not low tide now, but I'm not sure what that plane does. I've always assumed it took tours to look at the whale tail. And I should also do a little promotion for I've got a Costa Rica Story Facebook page, and let this truck go by. I've got a Costa Rica Story Facebook page. I'll link that in this video after uploads. But what I like about it is I can post my some of the aerial panoramas from my drone that are interactive. And Facebook is a really good platform to view those. That's like if you view it on your phone, it's really cool because when you turn around, like you hold your phone up to your face and go into a circle, the view on your phone changes. So it's kind of like, sort of immersive. It looks different on a computer, and it looks different on an iPad. It's not so good on an iPad. It's not quite as interactive, at least on my iPad. Your tablet may vary, but it's really cool on the phone. So I'll link my Costa Rica Story Facebook page, and you can if you want to like it, share if you want to share it. So El Mercado, they have an interesting thing there now. They now have a representative from the Whaletail Brewery. So you can actually get yourself a bottle or a glass of their beer. El Mercado is every Wednesday and every Saturday. It's usually 8 to 1 on Saturday and 8 to 2 on Wednesday. And Wednesday tends to be the busier day for El Mercado. But they have a lot of vegetables there. Sometimes they have entertainment. But it's a great place to go and practice your Spanish. It's a great place to go to meet people. I usually go there and hang out with my friend Rainier, and we talk about everything. And he coaches me in my Spanish and the ways of Costa Rica. He's kind of my Obi-Wan Kenobi here in Costa Rica. I definitely need to play around with getting my camera attached to the laptop. Got all this technology. I need to use it better. Because my camera is one of the few that can actually go into the connections on a laptop and serve as a webcam. It's funny. Last week we were talking about the sounds of Costa Rica and what it is, what's it like to live here, and how your expectations may be different than when you get here. And often distance, it's a very common sound early in the morning is a weed whacker, because it's so hot here, people have to start working early. It's just a fact of life. So people do get up early, and if you're coming here on vacation or to live, if you adopt that getting up early mentality, you're going to be much better off. I'm really lucky because I'm a morning anyway, so that part of this was perfect for me. Sometimes I even get up before the howler monkeys do. That's what I should do when I get up before the howler monkeys. I should go out to the edge of the jungle and start making noise and making monkey noises at them to tell them to wake up. But I mean, the howler monkeys and I are almost on the same schedule. But it's funny that the geckos, right when it gets dark and right as it gets light, the geckos have a little bit of a thing to say. At least in my place, it is. But one thing I'm not looking forward to is the cicadas, because I'm not a huge fan of them. Where I live, they just fill the trees, and you can't even talk outside and be understood. And that lasts over a month. So I can actually do a live stream with my drone, which would be cool to do at some point. But I can guarantee you it would be less than perfect drone flying, and it would be less than a perfect uh, presentation of the show. Well, that's been kind of a theme for you, Don. You got wasn't there a container house being built next to you in your last house? And actually, in my I don't know, my jungle area, they're building a house there too. So I've got a lot of that sound. Yeah, and I think that's a construction truck going up one of the roads up here. That big loud noise. There is a lot of construction going on in the Uvita area, in Bahia. in Ocotel, they got that humongous housing development that they've got planned, which most people aren't happy about, unless you're buying a house there, I guess. But somebody was saying that there were it's kind of one of those deals where the houses all look the same and very North American ish. Yeah, prices are getting higher for houses here for sure. I'm just talking the rental market. I don't know anything about the real estate market other than what I've heard from other people. I'm not talking over things in North Carolina or North Canada. I don't have my glasses on. If I can move. Yeah, it's a beautiful day here in Uvita. Almost too beautiful. That's good. Too much sun. I prefer a little bit more clouds myself, but I can't be picky. You can tell when the Canadians are talking to each other. You see that little A afterwards. A? There are a ton of Canadians moving here. I've met so many lately. I have no info on Hako at all. For rentals, I mean, I, I've heard of some pretty decent rental deals there just on Facebook, but I haven't actually actively investigated there. I do have friends that live there. Yeah, Hako's kind of set up different than Uvita, but I've seen some. Well, when I'm looking for a place, I'm usually I'm looking for like low prices are kind of like what I go for. I mean, basic stuff. I'm not sure about like a normal place that might have a pool or something like that. Because I've lived in the same place here, and I don't have a pool. I don't have a view, but I'm close to things, and I like my landlord, so I've been staying here though. I know at some point I would like to live in a place with a view. I haven't even been to Hako in a while. Maybe it's time for a road trip. Yeah, I've been here, a long time, over a year, and I'm still struggling with the Spanish. But everybody here is so helpful, and they have a lot of patience, and they do appreciate that you're making the effort to learn Spanish, because there's some people that are just, they come from their native country and they're really arrogant, and they think that other people should speak their language. So if you come here and show a willingness to want to learn the language and learn about their culture, it's very much appreciated. It's definitely a huge change of pace here. There's a lot of things. I don't like to generalize, but there's just a different kind of attitude that tends to be prevalent here. People that live here who have been here a while. Kim, you're always on the road. Sí. Gracias. Muy rico. Yeah, I can't believe that this is September 1st. And the summer is going by really fast, but the summer here is still here. That's an adjustment that is hard for me to grasp. Just living in a four-season environment my whole life. For instance, they just had the county fair in my old hometown, which always signified the end of summer, and the nights started to get colder after that. But here, it's not much different. It'll be different when, like in October, probably it'll start to get a lot rainier. And October is almost here, the way things are going. I'm watching one of the boats going out here at the whale town. I definitely need to get back out there again. Glad to be of help that, and like that song from Benjamin and the Howlers says, sell your stuff and move to Costa Rica. He's a local singer-songwriter. He's got a song, Sell Your Stuff and Move to Costa Rica. And they play a lot of the clubs around here. It's Ben Jammin and the Howlers. He let me use his song in one of my videos I did. I think one of the lines goes, some say it's paradise. At the very least, it's really nice. So hopefully I'll get that video of the hiking from Playa Tortuga to South Fontana Sea Cave. I'll get that uploaded today. It's one of those things that it was supposed to be. I wanted to have it done like on Tuesday, but life gets in the way and things get delayed. And then when I went to upload it last night, I left it uploading, and apparently there was some glitch in it. It just stopped uploading, so I had to redo it. But the sun is shining here today. I've got a load of wash in the washing machine. When I get home, I get to throw it on the line, and it's going to dry really fast. So no Ouya until the afternoon, I hope. You know, I do have friends here that have clothes dryers. A clothes dryer here is a real huge luxury. It's one of the things when I go back to the States, I'm just kind of really impressed with being able to dry your clothes. The electricity is really expensive here, so that's the main reason people don't have dryers. And people that do have dryers, a lot of them have propane dryers. But we were talking about prices, like prices of housing. The price of groceries here is really expensive. I know worldwide that grocery prices are really, really up. But like in the stores here, I probably should do a video on that just to do some comparison. Well, things like cereal, like especially if it's imported from the U.S., like some cereal is just crazy expensive. Like there was one box of cereal. I was trying to do the conversion in my head, and it was like, $8 for a box of some kind of well-known brand cereal. And there is cereal here, like the local cereal, that is a little bit cheaper, but it's still on the expensive side. Maybe like $3 or $4 a box. But I haven't actually done the grocery store video that I wanted to do, which I think will be helpful to a lot of people, including myself, so I can actually see what I'm spending. Because you do fall into the trap here sometimes, or at least I do, where I'll have a 5 mil bill, which is, I'm not sure what the conversion is. It's close to $8. I'm not sure exactly. I have a video on that has more accurate prices. You could Google that. But a lot of times I have a 5 mil bill in the back of my head. I'm thinking, oh, this is $5. So if something costs 5 mil, I'm going, oh, that was only 5 mil. Thinking it was $5 and it's 8 or 9. So you have to make that conversion in your head to realize what you're spending. But it has been more expensive to live here. Mostly when I got my car, things got a lot more expensive for a lot of different reasons, because you got all your expenses that are associated with your car. and then you're going places, and you've got to fill your car up with gas, and you got to do your inspection and your insurance every year, and you just tend to do more things, which is good because you're doing more things, but you're spending more money. So I've been looking for some calmer waters to do some paddle boarding in, and I'm toying with the idea of Playa Tortuga, because it's kind of a little bay there that, especially at low tide, is really calm. But there's a lot of crocodiles over there, so I'm not sure how practical that is. And I'm not sure. I mean, I've never seen any crocodiles out there, but when you're out in the water and you know that they're around, it kind of takes a little of the fun out of it because you're so worried about that. Now on a paddleboard, you have to be able to not worry about falling off, because you should be able to fall off in your paddleboard and not be stressed about it. But my friend Lisa lives down on the Gulf of Ducie, and that's pretty calm down there. I'm thinking of going down and visiting her. And she's kind of an interesting person too, because she moved here just a little bit before I did, and she's settled into Puerto Jimenez. Of course, I'm not saying that right, but she's down there, and she's kind of integrated herself into the Tico culture, and she's in the process of buying some land, and she's going to have it's kind of I don't know what you call it. She's going to have some rental properties, and it's not like a huge thing, and it's kind of like eco-friendly kind of a thing. So she's really flourished down here. And it's funny because there's a few people I know that moved here around the same time, and everybody's got their own little path. And actually, most people are doing pretty well. There's some that are kind of floundering, and there's some that have left. But I think coming here, if you're going to live here or even vacation, you have to have the right mindset. If you saw that beautiful toucan that just flew by, I don't know if it was on the screen or not. But yeah, you have to have the ability to adapt. You have to drop that North American or European mindset, or wherever you come from. I mean, you don't have to, but if you do, it'll make your life easier. So I see the people that come here and they have to have a home, like a North American home, like they had back in the States. And that's fine, but if you're going to do that, why even bother to come here? I never really understood that, because there's more places you can live in North America and Europe. So I don't get that, the people that have to have their North American lifestyle when they come here. In some ways, you're better off. There's some advantages to being a relatively poor person here in Costa Rica, because it forces you to embrace the culture here. I've gone off on kind of a rant, but that's just the thought. I'm just looking at the chat. Thanks for the conversion there, Senor Don. Yeah, there's an interesting thing with the showers here. Like, there are some places that don't have hot water, and there's some places that have what they call a suicide shower, which is the shower it's hooked up to this electrically powered unit. The water goes through and heats it up. Apparently they're safe, but when you look at it, it's like it doesn't seem like a good idea. But there are a lot of normal hot showers. But as Senior Don Morrow, who's in the thread here, will tell you, the best way to get a really good house at a really good price is to have some Tico friends here, which Don has. In the short time he's come here, he's made a lot of friends, and they kind of guided him towards this latest apartment he's in. So the school of thought kind of is like, was my school of thought, when you just find a place that is decent when you first get here, and then you can look for a place that might be more ideal. But I've fallen into kind of a trap of the first place that I moved to, I'm kind of got in my comfort zone, so I'm still there, which is a good thing and a bad thing, I guess. Hola, Costa Rica Chronicles. And is that week been up already? And did you guys do the zip line? And I think it was actually dry on Tuesday afternoon, wasn't it? So you were right and I was wrong. That's what I get for trying to predict the weather here. The only people that I trust with the weather are Ticos. They know how to predict the weather here. And the people down at the entrance to the whale tail that have all the tapestries, I think those are the most accurate weather predictors, because if you see them putting tapestries away, you know it's going to rain. It's so much work to get all that stuff taken care of. They just seem to have an innate sense of when it's going to rain. Because I've been by there and the clouds look like they're going to empty, and they don't seem worried about the rain, so they just leave everything out. And other times when you see them kind of in a hurry packing their stuff up, so it's going to rain. Oh, you went in the morning. Morning people now. Yes, solar panels are really big here, and the technology is really improving. There are some people that kind of live off the grid a little bit with the solar panels. It's kind of a growing thing. It's big business here. But I mean, the companies vary too. I think some companies really know what they're doing, and some don't. Yeah, I met a guy here when I first moved here, and he had a kind of an array of solar panels that was supplying all his electricity. But he was like a really, really clever guy. He was an engineer, and they built a house up the hill a little ways. I mean, it wasn't like a real luxurious thing, but he's got actually a little bit of a view up there, and he's built a clever little house up there with some clever little innovations. Yeah, and the way Don's talking about is that you're more likely to get a decent price than on Facebook, because on Facebook and any other kind of online site, you're likely to have to pay a lot more. So if you move here and you make friends and people like you and you're a genuine person, you tend to have the connections that you that will help you in your life here, not just with your housing, but in general. I mean, it's really valuable to have somebody that lives here have a conversation with you just about life in general here. Talk about a little philosophy and that kind of thing. Little places to go and things to do. And theoretically, it helps with your Spanish, but I'm still struggling really bad. But every once in a while, I'll have a conversation with somebody that speaks no English at all, and they can understand what I'm saying. So that's kind of a breakthrough for me. But what I like about it is when you are trying to speak Spanish, they're rooting for you. They want you to, they're kind of patient with you, and they're very kind of like they want you to join the team, the team Espanol. Well, I know that price going up and not going down is really stuck with the gasoline, because gas prices in North America, I think, are going down, at least in the States. They're kind of stuck here in Costa Rica, the last time I checked anyway. Yeah, there's definitely, if like on Facebook you can find a lot of that, like the groups of expats from different countries. Well, yeah, there's no shortage of here in Uvita. I'm not talking all of Costa Rica. Any of my perception of Costa Rica is based on my life here in Uvita. Well, Uvita has a large expat population from U.S., Canada, Europe. And I think as Don has pointed out, they do have the softball game. It goes on down in Bahia among that, and I know that there's a mix of expats and Ticos that have a volleyball every Sunday. So yeah, you can find that definitely. I kind of avoid that myself, because you tend to run into people that still have an axe to grind with their old country, and they want to start talking about politics and stuff. And I just don't want to go there. I even get it here I'll get a message from somebody saying, "Boy, you're lucky living in Costa Rica, because things are getting really bad in the U.S." And no, I'm not sure what side of the issue they're going to be coming in on. And I have my definite opinions, but I don't share those. Those are my opinions, so I keep it to myself, and I avoid the topic with people here. If somebody starts talking about what the president's doing or what Congress is doing, this or that, I'll say, I'll point to the tree and go, "Oh, look at that monkey." So I distract. Yeah. But lately, I've been getting a lot of people like thinking I want to engage in that topic, and I just don't. Yeah, just anything to distract. Well, that's the Central America version of look at the squirrel. It's like, oh, look at the monkey. But I don't know if you've noticed the plants have grown a little bit here since we started. I mean, not since we started this morning, but in the last few weeks. Yes, a lot. Yeah, we've got squirrels here too, but the squirrels have to be really, really alert because there's a lot of predators. I have a video of a squirrel being eaten, or monkey, um, white-faced capuchin up in a tree eating a squirrel. Because those monkeys will eat just about anything. I published it and I took it down just because it was a little bit graphic, a little bit too much National Geographic there. But when a monkey kills a squirrel and eats it, it's kind of a double bonus for him because the squirrel and the monkey compete for the food, the stuff growing in the trees. Then if the monkey eats a squirrel, then he's got the extra protein off the squirrel. But yeah, it was kind of brutal actually, but it's nature. He'll get trained squirrel monkeys. That'd be something. It's funny when the capuchins come through where I live. It's just kind of like a little invasion. It's like they come quickly and they go through the tree and they're any bird's nest or anything. They've got their hands in that, and any kind of fruit they're picking that. And they're not super duper afraid of you, but they're wary. You hear them chattering. It's been a while since they've been through, well, at least since I've been home. So I'm working on a video now. I shot some drone video of Route 243, which is the windy road along the mountain to San Isidro in Perez Zeldin. And I was going to do kind of just a drone video, but I think I may be doing a video where I show you some of the places along the way, because there's some cool sodas along the way. And there's some really cool places that sell fruit. There's one restaurant there that they've got a couple of dinosaur statues there, and that's when I'm driving to San Isidro. That's kind of like my landmark of like, oh, I'm almost there to San Isidro, because from that point it's almost all downhill. But that is a tricky drive. If you get stuck behind a truck that's carrying logs or concrete or something, it can take you 3 times as long. And then people tend to make some really risky passes there, so there are so many accidents on that road. And when the huge trucks go around some of the turns, they don't always stay in their lane because some of the turns are so sharp and the trucks are so long. So that causes accidents sometimes. I've had some really close calls that way. You have to really be able to react. And at night in the rain, it's horrible. But it's fun because it's a beautiful view. But then if you're looking at the beautiful view while you're driving, it's even more risky. Have a good one, Dad. Yep, my hot water at my place is it's a it's a form of hot water. It's not panels. It's yeah. Let me start that again. The hot water at my place, my landlord has a it's solar it's solar powered, but it's not with solar panels. It's some kind of tubing. I'm not really sure exactly how it works, but they just replaced it within the last few months. I got to look at it. It was kind of interesting. I guess that's pretty common here. There's a lot of forms of solar energy that are put in place here. I make fun of the people that live up here in the mountains and have the luxurious house with an infinity pool overlooking the ocean. But yeah, that would be kind of nice. So it's a beautiful day here, and if you're in the sun today, you're definitely going to want to apply the sunscreen and reapply the sunscreen. So tomorrow afternoon, I'll be doing some errands in San Isidro, Perez, Zeldin area because I got to see my friend Josue. They have my tail light fixed. That's one thing with an older car. It's kind of a nonstop barrage of small repairs that have to get done. Of course, Don Morrow's got an older model car, so he doesn't have as many of those things to deal with. Although I think he's had a few minor. Haven't you seen your Don? Yeah, I find that the longer I live here, the less I do want to be in a group of expats as much, or gringos, whatever we call ourselves here. And then it is culture shock when you go back. Like for me, I'm from the states, so when I go back to the states, it is a bit of a culture shock. But the last two times I've gone back, I've only been there, a few days. One of the biggest things that's strange for me has to do with uh, language. Because when I go to the stores here, it's always a little stressful because I want to be ready with the right answer. need a bolsa, see, that kind of thing. I go to a store in the USA, it's like, hey, I'm smart again. It's like when I go to a store here in Costa Rica, it's like, oh no, here comes that idiot again. And they're not thinking that at all. They don't. And that's one thing about Costa Rica. You can't even call yourself stupid. If you call yourself stupid, in jest, they do not like that at all. And that's kind of a generalization, but that's what I've experienced in here in Uvita anyway. Anybody that I've been around, because I like to do that kind of humor where you make fun of yourself, and it's a cultural thing. But no, I mean, people get angry with you. It's like, no, don't do that. You're not. Like if I say I'm tanto, I say, eres tanto. They say, no tanto. So that's kind of a good thing. That's a good way to be. There are these really, really tiny ants that walk around, and ants, there's so many different varieties of ants here, but there's like some right here that are so tiny you can barely see them. And I just always worry about them climbing inside of my iPad and my computer, because every once in a while I'll be on my iPad and like an ant will come out of a crevice somewhere. And a 2013 vehicle here is like almost like a new vehicle in my eyes anyway, in a lot of people's eyes. But yeah, your car is a beautiful car. Just don't let me drive it. I don't back up well. I tend to bump into things. I do my braille parking where I back up, and then when I hit something, I know I can stop. All right, so I guess it's time for me to close things down here in Cafe Don Roger here in Uvita, Costa Rica. Don't forget to check out the Costa Rica Story Facebook page, where I have some of my drone images that are interactive. So they're like the 360 that you can scroll through. If you hold your phone up and go in a circle, it does like a complete circle. Hard for me to describe, but I'll put the link below after this uploads, if I don't forget. And you can see that. You can like the page, give me more social power to keep the channel moving forward. We're up to 600 subscribers, so that's a lot of people. I thank everybody for subscribing and watching and liking and sharing the channel. I still haven't got a proper ending for this yet, so I need to work on that. But hasta. Well, thanks for joining me, and hasta luego.